today we're going to get into the fascinating and, let's be honest, sometimes super frustrating world of memory. We're going to figure out why your brain holds on to the smallest, most random details, while, really important stuff just seems to float away. And here's the spoiler alert, that's not a flaw. It's actually a feature of a deeply wired mind. Okay, so let's just dive right in with a question I'm pretty sure we've all asked ourselves at some point. You can vividly remember the smell of your grandma's kitchen from when you were 6, but where you just put your phone? Gone. Total mystery. So what is going on here? Is your brain just broken? Nope, not at all. Psychology actually has a way more interesting answer. And that answer comes down to this really important idea: emotional anchors. See, your brain isn't just some simple filing cabinet that stores everything equally. It's more like a super smart, highly efficient sorting machine. And it prioritizes any information that's tied to strong emotions, or deep meaning, or even intense sensory stuff. All the boring, routine data, that gets tossed aside. It's saving its energy for what really matters for your survival and for connecting with others. So let's break down the first 3 signs that your mind is wired this way. These are all about how you process the people around you and the kind of subtle art of human connection. Think about this for a second. Someone asks your friend how they're doing, and they just say, "Oh, I'm fine." Now, most people, they just hear the words and move on. But you heard that tiny, almost imperceptible pause right before they spoke. You caught that slight shift in their tone, and you remember it because your brain basically put a big red flag on it, marking it as important emotional data. So what's actually going on here? Well, in psychology, this is called high interpersonal sensitivity. It means you're not just passively listening to people. You're doing something we could call active observation. Your mind is constantly trying to decode the real conversation that's happening just beneath the surface, and it's filing away all those crucial little clues for later. All right, on to sign number 2. You meet someone new. They tell you all about their passion for astronomy, their struggle with a big project at work, their dream of visiting Japan. You remember every single detail. But their name? Poof. It vanished the second after they said it. I know it can feel a little embarrassing, but trust me, there's a very logical reason this happens. And this slide, this explains the why perfectly. To your brain, a name is just an arbitrary label. It's just a piece of data without a story attached. But their passions, their struggles, now those are emotional anchors. They're the things that pave the way for a real connection. So your brain isn't being forgetful, it's being incredibly efficient, choosing meaning over a meaningless label every single time. And for our third sign, we have the classic organized mess. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. To anyone else, your workspace might look like total chaos, but when you need that one specific receipt from 3 months ago, you can just reach into a pile and pull it out without even thinking. There is absolutely a method to the madness. See, this isn't a sign of being disorganized at all. It's actually a sign of a super efficient mind. Psychology calls this selective organization. You're not wasting precious mental energy on making things look superficially neat. Instead, you've created your own system based on what's important, remembering where things are based on their actual value to you. Okay, you're ready for the next batch? Let's move on to our next set of signs. This group is all about the unique way your mind soaks up information from the world and trusts its own powerful and often subconscious instincts. Does this ring a bell? Maybe for one weekend you just fell down a complete rabbit hole about, 18th century architecture. You learned everything. Then you moved on. But months later, someone mentions flying buttresses, and you can still recall all these specific details. So why do these seemingly useless facts stick around? Well, it's because your brain has a really powerful curiosity system. For you, the act of learning something new actually triggers a little hit of dopamine. That's the brain's reward chemical. So it creates this amazing feedback loop. You learn something cool, you feel good, and then you want to learn more. Those facts stick around because the process of discovering them was, neurologically speaking, just a deeply satisfying experience. On to sign number 5. You walk into a room and you can just feel it. The air just feels thick with some kind of unspoken tension. While everyone else seems totally oblivious, you've already picked up on all the subtle cues, the stiff body language, the forced smiles. You remember this feeling, this atmospheric memory perfectly. So where does that come from? It often stems from what psychology calls guarded empathy. It's a highly adapted survival instinct. Your nervous system might have learned a long time ago to be hyper-aware, constantly running this little threat detection program in the background. You remember those shifts in atmosphere because, on a deep subconscious level, your brain is cataloging them to keep you safe. Here's sign number 6, and this is one that can sometimes feel like a bit of a burden. When you think back on a major decision you made, you don't just remember the path you took. Your mind also brings up this crystal clear memory of all the other paths you considered, all the what ifs, the other possibilities you weighed. Now, while it might feel like you're just overthinking things, it's actually a sign of what's called cognitive complexity. Your brain isn't just stuck in some anxious loop, it's actually holding multiple complex ideas at the same time to make sure it makes the most well-reasoned decision possible. You remember those alternatives because they were a crucial part of your brain's very sophisticated problem-solving process. And finally, our 7th sign. Think for a second about what you really remember about the people in your life. Is it their perfectly curated Instagram vacation photos? Or is it that one late-night quiet conversation you had where they were just completely vulnerable and real with you? I'm willing to bet it's the latter. That's the stuff that sticks like glue. This really shows a high authentic connection orientation. It means your core values prioritize what's genuine over what's just polished for approval. Your brain instinctively knows how to filter out all that social media noise, all that digital static, and instead it latches onto the real, unfiltered human signals. Those are the moments it decides are worthy of long-term storage. So, after going through all 7 of these signs, what's the big takeaway here? What does it all mean? The most important thing to get is this. If you recognized yourself in these examples, you are not forgetful, you are not strange, and your brain is definitely not broken. You are simply wired for depth. You know, seeing yourself in these signs means you have this really unique set of strengths that are all connected. Your sensitivity to emotional cues means you naturally prioritize meaning over surface details, and doing that requires a special kind of mental efficiency. This whole system is fueled by an intellectual hunger. It's guided by a powerful intuition, and it is always, always searching for what is authentic and real. Just let that sink in for a minute. A lot of people just sort of scroll through life, passively consuming whatever is on the surface. Your mind is different. It is actively working to decode the world, to understand the subtext, to see the patterns that other people miss, and to grasp the deeper truths. That's a remarkable way to be. So don't fight it, embrace it. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's the last tiny thing you remembered that kind of surprised someone else? What was it? And more importantly, what does that seemingly random little memory reveal about what your deeply wired mind truly values? Take a moment to think about that.